Hi everyone, I am so excited to see you. It is not a coincidence that you and I are sharing this moment right now. Do you know I've been working as a medium for over 25 years, and my eyes are so wide open right now and focused on this deep inner need of an awakening. Like life is consciously connecting to all that is. So I've decided to create the Lighter Side Network, where each show and each host reminds us how the everyday meets the extraordinary. Be it in the realm of mindfulness and healthy living, having an empowered and authentic life with humor, trusting your intuition and communicating with beyond, energy healing and releasing unconscious obstacles, astrology, living in your joy and truth, and so much more. Join us as we share our knowledge and experiences with you. We're going to have so much fun.
Hi everybody, my name is Laura Boone.
Hi, my name is Ursula Lentini.
Hey everyone, I'm Thershna Patel.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Karen.
Join me on my show.
Are you ready?
Only on the Lighter Side Network.
Only on the Lighter Side Network.
The Lighter Side Network, where the everyday meets the extraordinary. That's us.
Hello everybody, it's Laura Boone with The Real Ethereal Show, and I'm already laughing. I'm already laughing. Today I'm so excited. This is our Gemini episode, and I brought my good friend Owen Harn here to help redeem the Gemini status on The Real Ethereal Show. As you guys know, I've been and Jesse started this. We have been,
my bad.
His bad. We've been having a lot of fun with Geminis this year, and so Owen said he would come on and either prove us right.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know what you guys said, but I'm sure you're right. So we'll see.
Well, we talked about Geminis can be a little. How do you say it? They're like pinballs in a machine a little bit. Ding, 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 ding.
Be very eccentric. We can be very dramatic.
Very dramatic, very eccentric.
All over the place. Very indecisive.
Yep. Well, one of the things that, whether it's their profession or not, Geminis are actors. Whether they call themselves an actor or not, they're actors. Owen actually calls himself an actor. He actually is an actor. In fact, he's been on some big name. True Detective.
Vice Principals.
The
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, what is that? I've never heard of that. Walking Dead? Have you heard of that, Jesse?
Rumors.
Just a little show. Yeah, and the thing I love about Owen is some of the characters you played are... Well, how tall are you? Like
I'm 6'4".
6'4". You played like a racist skinhead, and I mean you'll play these really, and you are maybe the funniest, sweetest person, which is such a Gemini thing, right? You just have so many different faces you can just turn on in a second.
Yeah, we have to be chameleons, especially as actors, character actors.
Right. Well, anyway, what we're going to do today with Owen's help, I'm going to go through just some of the basics of Gemini. I'm going to talk about some famous Geminis. I'm going to talk about just some facts about Gemini, and then we'll hear from an expert on Gemini, Owen, a little bit later. So, first of all, I just want to read off a list of Geminis that are very exemplary of Gemini. Now, we already did a show on Donald Trump. We did 2 shows on Donald Trump. So he's a Gemini that's very much in the forefront of everybody's minds these days. It is funny.
It is.
I think it's funny if you're not crying, it's funny. Yeah. So Morgan Freeman, Marilyn Monroe, Johnny Depp, such a Gemini. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you can hear an interview with him, and within one interview, he's used like 5 voices, and he's He morphs during an interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. Not to mention his amazing characters. Angelina Jolie, oh my gosh, she's such a Gemini, you guys. John F. Kennedy, Natalie Portman, Mark Wahlberg, Nicole Kidman is such a Gemini. When she's an actor, I mean, she's just such an amazing actress. Bob Hope, Gemini. Ralph Waldo Emerson, we're going to get into some traits of Gemini, but I threw him in there because Geminis are they're masters of language, as well as just, having the trait of seeming like they have different personalities. They're masters of language and communication. Ian Fleming, so he's another great writer, James Bond stuff. One of my favorite ones on this list is Mel Blanc. And I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with his work. He did a lot of the Warner Brothers cartoon voices.
Bugs Bunny, yeah.
Right, Bugs Bunny.
Porky Pig.
Right, he's a Gemini. It's amazing what he did. One of my favorite fictional characters that are Geminis is Saul Goodman, Better Call Saul.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's a Gemini. Yeah.
It plays out well.
Right? Yeah, love that. So the symbol for Gemini is the twins, and Castor and Pollux, which are the symbols, I guess that comes from Roman mythology. In the sky, the constellation is Castor and Pollux. But it's not really about two people. Twins, when it comes to Gemini symbolism, is about different aspects of someone's personality. So it's not about multiple people and actual twins. It's about the ability that a Gemini has to convey different personalities. And it's just a trait that all Geminis have. Gemini rules in the body. Gemini rules arms, lungs, shoulders, hands, nervous system, and the brain. Gemini rules the third house. So what does that mean? The third house in a person's chart is the house of short trips, the house of communication, the house of writing, the house of speaking. Anything that's verbal is Gemini, whether it be writing, speaking, acting, any of those things. The planet that rules Gemini is Mercury. So Mercury was, as you guys know, was the god of, running, quickness. All I remember,
God.
the what god?
Messenger God.
Messenger. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Mercury's but I know he had the
Wings. And
wings on his feet, and he was really fast, like Flash Gordon. Like Flash Gordon would be a fictional Gemini. Flash Gordon. Yep, there's another Gemini. But that's the thing about Geminis. They're verbal. They can switch characters easily. And again, like, Owen, I've had dinner with you, or just whenever I'm in conversation with you, and inevitably you start. Well, he was just doing an impression of me. You can do an impression of, it just happens, right?
Yeah.
It's really,
It just comes out sometimes.
it just comes out.
That wasn't Laura's voice. I'm not going to do that. Right now.
Well, he did my voice and it sounded so Southern, and I'm not Southern. Or I'm Southern, but I don't have an accent. Everybody else has an accent. That's the way I see it. Yeah. That's right. Anyway. Okay, so we have talked about before when it comes to signs, people look at their chart and they go, oh, well, I'm not a Gemini. That doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't know a Gemini. It doesn't have anything to do with me. Well, that's not true. Everybody in their chart has Mercury in their chart, and everybody in their chart has Gemini in their chart. So the key is really finding where is Gemini energy in your life or in your chart. And a lot of times somebody could have a Gemini ascendant, which is their rising sign, which is their first impression that they give. So people that have a Gemini ascendant are very easy to talk to. They can morph personalities. They are interested in a lot of things, so they know a little bit about a lot of things. A lot of Geminis, or somebody who has a lot of Gemini in their chart, know a little bit about a lot of things. The interesting thing about a Gemini ascendant, these are the folks that can be the hucksters, they can be the tricksters, they can be the liars, they can be the hustlers, the swindlers. What's that word? Grifters.
The grifters.
Grifters. A lot of Gemini ascendants, truly, like what is on the surface can be completely different than what's really going on. They're like the best liars. Gemini ascendants, and I would say Scorpios are probably really good liars too, but Gemini ascendants just are really great liars. Gemini ascendants make amazing salespeople. They can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, I was a very good salesman.
Were you in sales?
Oh, yeah, starting it, in my teens, in early 20s, absolutely.
So even
I
when
did
you're
very well at it.
what kind of things did you sell?
Home
Anything?
improvement products, shoes. I mean, the first thing I sold was shoes. So I think I was 16 years old selling shoes.
Did you just morph?
Oh, absolutely.
To whoever you were
Especially
with?
to old women or any kind of woman.
That looks fabulous on you.
Your voice would change?
I love that. That is so to die for. It's adorbs. You have to wear that. Oh, you get the second pair half off.
And Oe's just so sweet. They just loved you. You sold the heck out of some
Oh,
shoes.
yeah.
This is the kind of guy, and it's his Gemini, but Geminis are the people that, sell encyclopedias or, they don't even have encyclopedias anymore. That tells you how old I am. But like, the knife people, the Cutco or whatever. I mean, these people are those kids that sell like magazines. There's this great movie out right now. I can't remember what it's called, that door-to-door salespeople, they're the only ones that can actually make that happen and make it work.
I did that. I sold cable door to door, and I did very well in the projects selling door to door. And that was I wouldn't do that now at my age, but 18,
But you could.
17 years old when I was doing it, I was no problem.
You could sell anything to anybody. That's not what you choose to do,
Oh yeah, no.
but you could, right? Right. I don't know. Okay, so Gemini it's crazy. Gemini is a mutable sign, and there are 3 different types of modes. There's mutable, fixed, and cardinal. And cardinal is the leadership sign. The fixed signs are the stubborn, kind of process-oriented signs. And then the mutable signs, which are Virgo, Gemini, and Pisces. And Gemini is the mutable air sign, which means, so the mutable part means that they're not fixed, so they're not so entrenched in how they do things and all about process. They're not stubborn about how they do things. And then cardinal is more where you have to always be in charge, you have to always be the leader. It's a kind of a controlling thing. The mutable signs are the team builders. They're the people that are creative. They're the people that come up with all the great ideas. They're the people that go, wait a minute, let's switch directions. It's really easy for them to switch directions depending on whatever the environment is, which is what makes them great actors. It makes them, this is the mutable piece of Gemini makes Gemini also, and I haven't said this yet, the funniest people in the zodiac. Gemini rules humor. Mercury rules humor. Now you love, improv because of that mutable thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like you get that? Do you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. I did improv for years, and I always preferred doing comedy. The reason why I became an actor was just to do comedy. But
Really?
they
Just
saw,
comedy?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I mean, ever since I was in my 14 years old, just do comedy. But as I grew, they people see me as this bad guy, and I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. I mean, nothing's funny about that, I guess.
Except when you say it like that.
So it's like I just had to play these bad guys.
But
and
in
then-
Vice Principals, you
Yeah,
played
I
a
worked-
big scary guy that was funny.
Yeah, I
Which
ended
is-
up
there you
working
go.
my way into it finally, and in the last year or so, all I've been doing now is comedy. I haven't really played that, killer bad guy rapist, in like 3 years, 2-3 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's so Mercury rules Gemini, as we talked about. And if you're interested in doing charts, even if you're not a Gemini, like a lot of Gemini in your chart, Mercury and certain aspects to Mercury also denote humor. So a lot of really famous comedians have either Gemini in their chart or they have Mercury in an interesting aspect to create humor in their chart. Okay, so Owen, you started coming to me for astrology readings.
Yeah, and it's May of 2009.
May of
We
2009.
had our first reading, and that is when I just first jumped back into acting, because I gave it up for about 4 years, and then I was probably at it for like 2 weeks, and then met with you, and then you were just telling me, the necessary steps to take, and I'd be very successful at it. And then I think a year later, I booked my first job, and then I started having a career by 2013, 2014, and it just started blossoming from there.
It's so great.
And I kept coming to you, and you just tell me a job will come into fruition with somebody that you met during that time, and of course it did. And it was one of my biggest jobs that I'd had.
It's awesome.
So, and I've stayed in touch with that person as well. So I've met a lot of people over the years, but there's things that you specifically pointed out that, triggered up here and let me know what to watch out for. So that's why the readings were so important to me. It doesn't necessarily tell you, where things are going to end up, but it helps you take the necessary steps.
Gives you
to
the
get
influences.
where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it gives you the influences.
Absolutely.
And the thing that you talked about when you talked about your chart and your readings was really about timing. Because I think that's one of the best things about astrology is that it's one of the only metaphysical practices that really talks about timing. And a lot of, like, even Jamie will come to me when she wants to know about timing, because she's as psychic as somebody can be. But most psychic people, it's really hard for them to give you a time frame.
Yeah.
Like, people, when I'm doing a psychic part of the reading, people are like, well, when does that happen? I'm like, I have no idea. And then I pull out their chart and I try to find something that could influence it timing wise, which you really latched on to the timing piece.
Yeah.
I think. But I think the other thing that you said that I think is really interesting, that really speaks to what Geminis need to lean into, like what they're not going to be so good at, and that is sticking with something. Geminis get bored. Geminis,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to show my age again. 8-track tapes. I'll never forget 8-track tapes. Like, most of you don't even know what that is. But it's a tape that has 8 different tracks going at one time, and that's a Gemini's brain. That's a Gemini's life. Like, they've always got more than one project. They always have lots of things going on. That's how they live, which is fine, which is really good. But what they need to do is really focus on 1 or 2 things and then stick with it in order to actually get traction in whatever it is they're doing. I mean, have you found that? Did you jump from thing to thing a lot in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jobs to job, just getting bored, and plus living in Florida, it wasn't, like the acting world was there. It finally just had to fall in my lap, in 2008, 2009.
It kind of pushed you.
Work just started, piling up in the Southeast, and it was like, oh, okay, now it's available for me to do. But it wasn't, when I was really trying, and when I was 21 years old.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so I guess I just had to do other things, be patient, and I went to college, and but going to college, it really helped me be a better writer. I actually learned how to be a writer by going to college and writing all those papers, and so
see, that's the thing too.
now that's what I do as well.
Geminis are verbal, and it truly, like, Geminis really need to understand they probably have a talent for writing if you're a Gemini.
Oh yeah. So I look at it this way. I had all these voices in my head, and all these,
Which is so Gemini.
just characters. I just had to let them speak, and they start talking. I just start writing dialogue of what they're saying to each other,
Wow.
and it would just come out in a whole, whole series. My buddy and I were writing.
So, and not everybody's like that. Like, Like a lot of people don't have voices in their heads. That's Gemini.
They're not crazy. I don't like just hear stuff. It just,
Well,
if
actually,
I'm
some
writing,
of them are. Some
Oh, yeah.
Geminis are crazy.
Oh,
and
yeah, absolutely. I'll agree with you there.
But there's also something really healthy about it. And I was saying earlier, like Geminis need focus, but please do not mistake what I'm saying. Geminis need to embrace the fact that they are never going to be a one-track person and like permission granted to have many different jobs or many projects going on at one time. That's like how you have to live. It's just really I think it's more about goal setting with the projects. Like, how long am I going to do this before I pull up stakes? What are my goals? Have I reached, give yourself little goals. So you're like, okay, if I reach this goal, now I'm going to set that goal. I mean, that's got to be kind of hard to do with acting.
Yeah,
You have to impose it
absolutely.
on yourself, right? It has to be self-directed.
Yeah, we can't, as actors, we can't really dictate our career, and we can set goals and things we want to achieve, but it's not like attainable as going to a sales job every day and really being able to put up those numbers. And acting is just a numbers game. I mean, it's not about the best actor for the job. It really is timing and sometimes luck.
Well, you have a lot of. I was looking at Owen's chart. I have it here actually. You have a lot of 11th planets in your 11th house in Gemini, and also your ascendant is in Leo. And I know I have astrologers that watch the show, so they'll understand that a lot of your, like, as my dad used to say, stick-to-itness. Stick to, I can't remember how he used to say it, but you've got two big fixed influences in your chart, which really helps ground your Gemini.
Oh.
So when I was talking about earlier how they don't have a lot of process, actually you would. You would have a lot of process. You would have habits that you go through. There's probably a habit or a ritual that you go through with acting. Have you come up with some rituals? Because you've got some fixed aspects in here that are really good for your career.
Yeah.
Do you do that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sometimes, I go by, I prepare, a certain way that works for me.
Yeah.
And every actor's different. I mean, it's just like we all learn differently, and there's so many different techniques on how to learn, not just acting. I mean, I don't really believe you can just learn how to act. Most people are born actors, and they learn how to just sharpen their skills. Just like I don't believe you can teach comedy. You can't teach somebody that's not funny at all how to be funny. But you can teach somebody that has, comedic timing to sharpen their skills.
I believe that, because when I see somebody do it, it is just it's such a talent. It's like somebody who can sing. Mm-hmm. It's like when they are comedic, or improv is what blows my mind.
Yeah.
Improv, it's like people are from another planet when they're doing improv. Mm-hmm. How can they do that? It's crazy.
It depends for me, when I'm doing it. I'll feed off energy, the energy in the room with the other actors I'm working with, or just how I'm feeling at that moment, how awake I am.
Part of how you can do it is that Gemini, so I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but Gemini's an air sign, and it's a mutable air sign, which means, air people have a lot going on in their heads. Mm-hmm. They're all here. And when you're a mutable air sign, it really is like you have voices in your head. And it's just ding, 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 ding. So improv probably gives somebody like you just an outlet for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a good way to describe it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely an outlet. 'Cause it's a lot of fun doing it, and it just, I get a lot of energy off of it.
So you have a Leo ascendant, which I love talking about these combinations, because you guys, when you just know what your sun sign is, it's very one note. In somebody's chart, like here's Owen's chart, this is the actual time, day, and place he was born. So it's really like a fingerprint. I mean, no two charts are alike. And Owen has a Leo ascendant. So I would venture to say the other two signs that are Well, I would say the other three signs that are really, really actor signs are Sagittarius, Libra, and Leo, but especially Leo. So you've got this combo of Leo and Gemini, and Leo ascendant which is it's why you get all these roles that aren't funny. It's just this big presence. I mean, even if you've got something else going on the inside, you've got this Leo, like, I'm in charge, kind of imposing. You know, Leo ascendants are very imposing. So, oh my goodness, Donald Trump. Gemini with a Leo ascendant. You have so much in common with the Donald.
Wrong. Very, very wrong.
Oh my God. That just cracks me up. You know who else has a lot in common with the Donald's chart is Darshana. We talked about that. Darshana Patel, who's like the sweetest. She's on the network. One of the hosts on the network. Anyway, could not be further from Donald Trump, but she has a similar chart to Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, that's really funny to me. But yeah, that Leo ascendant. And then he has a stellium in his 11th house. So astrologers out there know what that means. He's just got a lot of fixed aspects, which is really awesome. It grounds you. So like I've told Owen before, when I've looked at his chart, you know, you may feel like you're swimming and not getting anywhere, but you've got such big, forceful direction aspects to your chart that kind of take all that ethereal, pinball-like energy and kind of can focus it. I mean, do you feel that? You can get focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you want to. But it's a matter of...
Yeah, I kind of need that nudge, or, you know, that, you know, just if it's out there and I see that it's out there, I can go get it. But
Yeah.
if it's, you know, drifting out there and I don't know where it's at, I just kind of, you know, sit around sometimes. Not necessarily lazy. I attach to something else.
Yeah. Geminis that have a lot of fixed signs around them like you, they can be almost like a nuclear reactor. You know, there's the focused, fixed container, and then there's all this ding, ding, ding to the atoms spinning on the inside. That would be you. And the big thing that Geminis need is to be really busy. So I would imagine, because that's when you get more focused, when you get busy. So when you're not busy, that could be really difficult for you. It's like you would float.
Yeah.
Like you would almost, as driven as you are, when you're not busy, you can probably be really, lazy is the wrong word, but just kind of like, whatever. I mean, you just sort of float.
Very foggy. Yeah.
Foggy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I'm busy and I can, you know, work on 3 different jobs at once, I mean, I love
It's
it.
on.
I love it. You know, I love jumping, you know, from one job to the next, or 2 jobs at once. I don't care. But yeah, when it's not busy, it's, yeah, you kind of just sit there and I'll just watch ESPN or something and focus on the Dallas Cowboys not winning another Super Bowl.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, what else can you tell us about what it feels like to be a Gemini? I mean, has any of this resonated with you?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. I had a difficult time growing up, especially being a Gemini. You know, being, like I said, being very indecisive. I mean, I remember being a teen and at the soda machine, and I couldn't even decide if I wanted Sun-Kissed or, you know.
That's such a good point. It's
grape.
overstimulation is what
Yeah,
it is, right?
And then I would just hit a button, and then I'd look at the can like, no, I really wanted that one. And I was, you know, at 13, I'm like, what's wrong with me? You know, and I couldn't decide on anything at all. Yeah, it's very, very hard to focus. I had, you know, a lot of trouble focusing, especially elementary school and middle school.
So Gemini, that's a really good point too, what you're just saying. Gemini is the quintessential display of ADD.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have ADD.
It's not a medical problem.
Yeah, I was just
for you. It's just what it's
I was
like.
just bored. You know, if there's something that I'm interested in, I mean, I could learn every aspect of it.
Yeah, right.
You know, just like with sports. I mean, I know so much about football and basketball. And, acting, I wouldn't say I'm a master at that. I mean, I focus on, movies and my favorite actors and what they've been in. That's about it.
But listen, that's Geminis. Do not play against them in a game of Trivial Pursuit.
No, I usually
don't.
win.
They know trivia. They're like walking Wikipedias. Yeah, I would never go against a Gemini in a trivia game ever. They know a little bit about everything. You can chat about anything.
And there's some topics on Trivial Pursuit. I'm like, how did I know that? And people, you're cheating. Like, no,
You just knew
I don't know
it.
I don't know where it came from, but I remember this moment in 1996 or whatever, and it just popped up in my head.
Well, Geminis they're all, because they're an air sign, they're highly intelligent. But how you just said that is just, they're like, their brains are like, this is going to sound funny, but I just got this great metaphor. Their brains are like Swiffers for information. They are. It's like they attract all this little stuff and then they just pull it out, you know?
We even
Are you
pick
like
up
a
all
Swiffer?
we pick up all the junk. I remember, people telling me, you have like so much unuseful information. You mean useless? Yes, that's what I meant. Unuseful. Like, okay, well, whatever. You're the one spitting out junk language right now, saying stuff that doesn't mean anything.
Right. And I love how every once in a while you just start talking really fast. That's so Gemini. So let's talk about a Gemini moon for a second, which, Owen, you don't have a Gemini moon. You have a Cancer moon.
Ooh.
Wow. I know, doesn't that sound awful? It's actually
Yes.
the best placement for a moon you can have.
Oh.
I've told you this. So he's got a fire ascendant, a water moon, and an air sun. So you're a good mix. But Gemini moons, let's talk about that. Okay, this is when I kind of make fun of Geminis. Gemini moons, we talk about the whole metaphor of what your sun and your ascendant and your moon is in terms of I always use this where you're driving down the road and you see a house and the house might be really modern and austere and there are no plants and it just looks really cold. And so that's your ascendant. Not your ascendant, but that's the curb appeal of who somebody is, their first impression. That's your ascendant. Well, once you knock on the door and you go inside, you see how that person lives. And it could be very different than what's on the outside. It could be very warm and inviting on the inside and cold on the outside, or vice versa. And so your moon sign is how you get your needs, your security needs met. It's how you feel safe. It's how you get your emotional needs met. It's how you're emotional. So a Gemini moon is not very emotional. They get very uncomfortable around emotional situations. And I would venture to say, let's say if you had a Scorpio moon and I knocked on your door and I came in your house, a Scorpio moon, I call the moon the bedroom, right? So the bedroom would be way back at the end of the house, at the end of a long corridor with all the doors locked with a little thumb code and a eye code, like James Bond or whatever. That's a Scorpio moon. A Gemini moon, you literally open the door and you trip on the mattress. It's like right in the foyer. It's like, woo! And there's a trapeze bar above it from the ceiling. I mean, Geminis are just like, hey, what's up? And it's just, they get bored. They're not emotional. They just don't. So that's a Gemini moon. So if you have a Gemini moon or you're with somebody who has a Gemini moon, what's their best love language? A trip, a surprise, going out, not staying in, going to a party, anything like that is that like the best date for you? Like you need entertainment, activity.
I like to be around other people. I can be very introverted, but I'm very extroverted as well. So yeah, I love going out. Love parties, football games, everything. Beach, especially water.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so you're a Gemini sun, but then your moon is Cancer. So Owen can be this like I call them like a pinball in a machine, right? Ding, 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 ding. But then deep down with that Cancer moon, you actually are grounded, and that's the water in you, and it's a deep ability to feel emotion and feel connected with others and be very nurturing. So you've really got some depth to you that a lot of Geminis don't have. They just don't have, but you do. You've kind of got you're the whole enchilada, my friend.
I'm very open, and I'm not shy. I mean, I can be shy in certain situations, but as a person, I'm like, I don't have much shame there. I don't care. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I've had a lot of life experience. So I'm very
felt
open
a lot.
about it. Yeah. Felt everything. I felt other people's energies or
You
pain.
do. You'll be empathic with that Cancer moon.
I can take on other people's pain and energy very easily.
Yeah, you have to watch
Oh,
being
absolutely.
around negative people. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's great. I'm so excited about your career.
I can't wait.
It's a lot of fun. And I know you're going back out to LA to try out. I mean, you've got a lot of auditions for a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
yay for Owen. I knew you back when.
Yeah. Back when I was still in my 20s.
Yeah. So look for Owen out there, you guys. Now you met him. And I just, I feel like Gemini's been redeemed a little bit from the show. Right?
I
Here's
hope
a
so.
sane member of society who's a Gemini.
I can't
Productive?
I can't speak for everyone.
No, thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really been great.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us today on the Real Ethereal Show.